Hi there, this is GM the Life Coach. This is the third part of the Mental Health and Social Media series. And in this discussion, I'm going to be talking to Rachel Hugg, and she has been working in secondary school for 13 years and so has seen a wave of different students that she's worked with. I also work in education, so it was good to kind of sit together and eulogize over different subjects and different parts and different things. There will be more things from Rachel Huggins, but this is going to be the first foray into what she, her views and what she feels is going on inside our society. So I hope you enjoy it. I hope you like it. Once again, I'm GM the Life Coach. Catch me on Spotify, Speaker.com, YouTube, Facebook, Instagram, and just look around, man. Look around. All right, take care.
GM the Life Coach.
This is GM the Life Coach. I'm here again with Rachel Huggins.
Hi.
We're going to do part 3 of the mental health and looking at the effect on social media of young people. And in this particular part, we're going to ask Rachel her views because she works in education like myself, and it's good to get other people's views of different situations. Okay, so firstly, in your particular time you've been in education, you've been in there 14 years. Have you seen a change in the way that young people communicate, like the way they communicate? Have you seen a change?
Well, yeah, because I mean, you've gone from kids having like a £10 phone from Tesco, where literally all they could do is send a text message. Mm-hmm. You've gone through the like BlackBerry Messengers phase with the broadcast and all that type of stuff to having smart devices, and then them tapping into apps and softwares that we don't even know exist. They laugh you to scorn if you keep talking about Facebook and stuff like that. Instagram, it's just like, how old are you? Because they don't use that. Even Snapchat is even like not the main thing anymore. They're accessing lots of stuff that we just have no idea what it is. So they're going more and more underground, even though it's kind of popular. Yeah, so they're communicating definitely a lot more, and so even though they might not be allowed out, it doesn't matter. They're allowed out because they have access to the internet. If you see what I mean, yeah.
What are the downsides you think have you seen for social media? I know when I was working in a mixed school, I know there's a lot of fights or a lot of arguments happening. Sometimes girls with boys and sometimes girls on girls, some boys and boys, or whatever it is. But what have you seen?
Well, that's always going to be there. The trouble is now, some of those instances are happening in school because of what happened outside of school via social media. Yeah, people are getting into arguments because of what someone said in a group chat, because of what somebody said online. So the cyberbullying business is probably worse than actual, bullying in person, because it never goes away. You can't go home and shut it off. Although, you would argue, well, why don't you just block them? That it's not as simple as that, because it's either you just lock off everybody because everybody's linked to somebody else that and then they find a way of telling you or spreading you so it's a lot harder for them to deal with than in our time. We can never understand what they go through as a young person because it's so much more intense, and it's like they just can't get away with anything. Even basic things like how you look after your house. If you go on a school journey now and you happen to be messy and somebody wanted to let other people know, they're going to film it or they're going to take a picture and tag you, and it follows you forever. You can't get rid of pictures of the internet, and they unfortunately they're that's where a lot of the sort of trauma like the sadness linked to it stems from, because what may have been a sort of pass it off as a joke or something funny, now is there forever. You know, which can come back to haunt you in different ways.
Exactly. So have you seen any depression stem from it? Have you seen kids kind of withdraw because of something happening?
Well, the trouble is depression shows itself in different forms. So you can't just say, oh, I mean, a lot of people say, oh, I'm depressed. But what are they really meaning? Do they actually mean that they are clinically depressed? Like, you know, have an illness or something like that? Or are they just feeling sad? Or is sadness linked to you know, is it the same? It's like, it's used so loosely now. It's not as simple to define amongst them, because you also have to remember they're growing up. Their hormones are all over the place. So they're going to be dopey and, you know, withdrawn anyway. Because that's just part of trying to cope with your body changing. Do you understand? Yeah. So sometimes I think it probably is hard or harder, because you might be passing it off as, well, they're just growing up. It's their hormones playing up and, you know, just being miserable because of this. They don't know the changes in their body. They can't cope with it, as opposed to they're actually going through something. And because of the fact, like I said earlier, it's gone kind of underground in the sense that they're going to go and search stuff up online, just like an adult. Nowadays, if you feel ill, you're not necessarily calling the doctor, are you? You're looking up online and then suddenly you think you're dying because you're diagnosing yourself with something that you've seen, as opposed to going and finding out
exactly what it is
with a surety. So, and they do the same. The trouble is they also asking each other first. How can they know? Where we might have gone and seek sort of sought some advice, maybe from an older, younger person, they don't even necessarily do that. So that sense of community, even amongst young people, is lost. And I think that
and also
plays a part.
A sense of innocence, I think, as well, because it makes them sort of see stuff that they necessarily wouldn't be seeing if they didn't have it.
Yes, that's true. But then you have to decide, well, what are you talking about, and when is it possible for you to... Well, look, at the end of the day, adults aid the loss of that innocence. You've got babies who, I'm talking toddlers up to the age of 2, who can't tell you the colours yet, but they can navigate a device better than you. They can actually go on YouTube and find the video that they want, and you're thinking, how in the world have they managed that? It's all by association. Obviously they're looking, they see the repetition of the colours, the characters, but they've already entered the world before they can speak. So then is it right to say, oh my goodness, they're doing too much, they're always on their phone? But you've created that. You've given them this thing since they were born. You know, we used to say that, sitting in front of the telly is a childminder. Well, now they've all got their own iPad, crying out loud, with a nice funky case. So that basically means I have to find some village in the sticks somewhere, because I'm not going to be following suit. And then you're the wicked mum, because you're not doing the same as everybody else. And then the kid then hates you. Like, why am I like some ancient person with books when I could have a Kindle? Do you see what I mean? I like tangible stuff. So, you know, it's one of those sort of no-win arguments, because actually, they might be totally obsessed with their phones and things like that, but we're not helping that by feeding it to them at a young age. You know, and then statistically, like, well, science has proven that, or research has proven that, even the way we teach them now is affecting them negatively, because they're so used to things flashing all the time. They can't sit and concentrate with a dry board. If nothing's moving, if you know, you might say you might sort of kill them with video clips. Well, they need that, because they're so if they have no stimulation, like visually, they're going to shut off or start sleeping and stuff, because they're so used to having it happen. They need that continuously. It's almost like it's addictive. So if we are now not up in our game in the classroom, trying to, in a weird sort of way, keep up with that, we're not going to be able to engage them.
I mean, I've had that with
What are you supposed
trying
to
to
do?
get them to read a book, and
Hey, you're joking.
trying to read a book of a film. Let them hear that there's a film. They want to watch the film. They want to read the book.
No, forget
They
that.
want to read the book.
Why am I going to sit here?
There's no flashing.
No
anything.
way.
There's nothing moving. What are the positives you think social media brings?
Well, obviously positives like it helps you. The purpose of its existence was to connect you.
Yeah.
And it does that.
Mm-hmm.
And as a source of information, it's great, particularly for us as educators, because don't you remember when they used to wheel in the video player and no one knew how to play it? Press play.
Yeah, we get
now we've got a little, we can click, we can find things in an instant as reference points. So utilised in the right way, it can be an excellent resource. But like you say, it can also give you a lot of access to things that you really don't need to be seeing or getting involved with. So, it has its ups and downs, and for them, again, it's a good way to show them maybe like how other people live and what their experiences are, and for them to just like you say, if they're not really going to look in a book, but they can access sort of information that they would have done traditionally from the encyclopedia or something online, at least they've got it. It's just trying to bridge that gap between, but you do realise you can't do this if you then go into further study and things like that. So it's trying to, again, create that balance. So like I've got one year 7 class of PSHE, as they walk in, because there's dictionaries by the door, they're naturally taking it, because I'm making them find out the meanings of words and stuff for themselves, because a lot of the time you find that they're using things inappropriately, but it's because that's the done thing. Everybody's using a word in its in the wrong sense. The worst one was finesse. I'm just like, for goodness sake. Fine. If you're gonna talk to me, then actually talk some sense, please.
Yeah, exactly.
And read the definition. Because I'm like, where's the dictionary in your bag? And they laugh you to scorn. Like, who has a dictionary in their bag? I'm like, when I was at school, everybody had to walk with a dictionary and thesaurus in their bag.
It's a small one,
yeah, the little one. So I'm like, fine, it's all right. Go and get your best friend. It's over there. They now know best friend is a dictionary. The knowledge.
Yeah, I mean, I got my tutor group today to read from the Metro. They have to read the three of them. Yeah. When it goes, I want to play some music. You only play music if all of you have to read a story to me, and you have to read a different story each, and they all read nicely as well.
Oh, bless them.
Because they wanted the music to play.
Yeah. Well, that's what I'm saying. You have to create that.
Otherwise, it would never happen. Yeah. It would just never happen. Yeah. Because they don't like to read. Last question. So we know that social media is around. We know that, like you said, it starts from toddlers from a young age and moving on, and as they get older and they get into certain predicaments and so forth, and it affects their mental health, gets depression and so forth. So then it says to me that parents need to be more educated on the pitfalls of maybe too much social media or too much internet or whatever. What are your views on that?
My views are, again, it's a bit of both. It's finding that balance. You have to think to yourself, if you use the creators of these things as examples, they don't allow their children to use them. Why? Everybody else in the world uses them apart from the people who made them. If they can see there's a problem with that, you need to follow them. Yeah? At the end of the day, we are as bad as the children. You've got some people, like I give them an example. I says, I get up in the middle of the night to go toilet, but before I lie back down, I can't just leave my phone alone. I have to just check, what's happened in the 2 hours that I've been sleeping. And then I'm up for another hour. It's ridiculous. So we have to be the example. If we want them to stop using it all the time, we also need to be able to sit down in the front room without it in our hand. We need to be able to have a conversation without doing a quick search. We need to be able to go to dinner and not be on our phone every 5 seconds. It's like the artist revolting about, can you just watch me please instead of filming me? And taking pictures like,
which is true, and I've done it loads of times, taking you out of the whole
you're
experience
missing it.
you're
Yeah,
too busy
because
trying to
I
get the
always
right
try
angle.
to get something from the